Well, cannibalization is happening within the ranks of the right. And I want to go over this from the perspective of this side of the curtain, because we know on the other side of the curtain, there are people who are controlling what's going on in the world of politics, finance, corporations, big oil. And this article right here from Newsweek pretty much says it all. And it seems pretty fair. Newsweek is kind of the middle of the road, or at least they try to be. We're going to read some direct quotes from Nick Fuentes and Laura Loomer, who are both staunch supporters of Donald Trump. And we're going to see some coping going on, because I got to tell you, it's interesting to see people in self-delusion when they cling to a presupposition in order to survive what seems like an insurmountable situation, and that is, or an untenable situation, and that is supporting Donald Trump, because they're coming up with all kinds of excuses on why Trump's campaign and campaign managers, not Trump, but them, they are blowing this whole election. And that's why he's sliding in the polls. So Newsweek says America's far right turns on Donald Trump campaign. Notice it doesn't say turn on Donald Trump, because they wouldn't dare do that. Nick Fuentes is not doing that. Laura Loomer's not doing that. Dan Bongino and all the people who support and stick their heads up Trump's derriere. It says right-wing political pundits Nick Fuentes and Laura Loomer have launched attacks on former President Donald Trump's current campaign strategy. So it's either against the people in his campaign or it's the campaign strategy. It's never against Trump himself. And we're going to see that from Nick Fuentes and Laura Loomer's own words. Usually unwavering supporters of Trump, and they still are. This gives you the idea that they're not. They're just against the campaign managers. They have now declared open opposition, with Fuentes announcing a new Groyper War against the campaign, and all these crazy buzzwords like Groyper. And to watch Nick Fuentes walk down the street with his Groyper crew, and it looks so cultish, it's scary. Unbelievable that anybody would put their trust in and promote and hope in this man. The unrest within the Republican Party comes after Democratic candidate Kamala Harris has been seen surging in the polls in several battleground states since taking over from Joe Biden, and that's all a ruse as well. In the last week, she has massively out-fundraised Trump's campaign and has pulled even with Trump in the betting market, where he was the favorite since March. And that's what the poll says, but do you trust the polls? Not me. And even if the polls were correct, it doesn't matter. Kamala's for red flag laws, Trump's for red flag laws. Kamala's for the big banksters and lays cover for them like Steve Mnuchin. Trump lays cover for the big bankers like Steve Mnuchin and makes him the Treasury Secretary. Kamala is pro-Israel. Trump is pro-Israel. Kamala is for devaluing the dollar. Trump is for devaluing the dollar. Nothing substantive is different in either campaign. They're both the same. They're both carbon copies. And then they fight over the little scraps over here that distract the lemmings who think this is all not a dog and pony show. Fuentes, a controversial political pundit known for his inflammatory rhetoric, took to social media on Thursday night to express his frustrations. Dare I say it, Fuentes says, I am declaring a new Groyper War against the Trump campaign. He said this in a video address on X. Let's take a look at that right now.
Dare I say it? I am declaring a new Groyper War against the Trump campaign until we can figure out what the hell is going on. I'm declaring a new Groyper War. You have alienated us. You have ignored us. You don't listen to our concerns. We have been left behind. The Trump movement and the GOP have moved on without us. It serves Israel and corporations and immigrants.
This is true, but Trump also serves those entities in spades. Nick Fuentes knows this, but he wants his audience to believe that Trump doesn't serve these entities.
But it doesn't serve Native Americans. What about Native Americans? What about Americans? What about young white men? And others too. But what about us? Charlie Kirk is to the right of Trump on immigration? That's unacceptable.
In other words, he's not right enough. Trump is not right enough. But Nick Fuentes is very careful with his words. He's not blaming Trump himself. He's blaming Trump's staff, his campaign managers.
So I think it's time for another Groyper War. We're bigger, better, stronger than ever. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Rumble. This is a big live stream every night. We have allies. So I think it's time to up the ante a little bit. Joker 2 is premiering in October.
By the way, Nick Fuentes claims to be against Zionism, and yet he is a Roman Catholic, and he pushes basically Catholic theocracy.
Joker 2, 5-year anniversary. The show is back. We're opening the chest. I think it's time for Groyper War 2. And this time, we're going all out. Justice once. And we will bring the energy. It's just a question of whether they want to get on board or get out of the way. That's the question. But
he really reminds me of a CBN preacher who's asking for a whole bunch of money and just getting this massive cult following who have turned their minds off, checked their will at the door, and just come in and said, "Yes, sir. Whatever you say, sir." The so-called Groyper War Fuentes refers to is a term he co-created in 2019 to rally supporters of Trump and other right-wing individuals toward adopting white nationalist ideologies. His followers refer to themselves as Groypers, just in case you didn't know. You have alienated us. You have ignored us. You don't listen to our concerns. We have been left behind. He says Groypers will bring the energy, just like we just saw. Fuentes also shared his grievances in a separate post on X, which was viewed over 2.2 million times. Let's take a look at that. He says, "Tonight, I declared a new Groyper War against the Trump campaign. We support Trump, but his campaign has been hijacked by the same consultants, lobbyists, and donors that he defeated in 2016. He defeated no such thing in 2016. It's a lie. It's a delusion. This is a massive cope. And they're blowing it. Without serious changes, we are headed for a catastrophic loss." Laura Loomer, another far-right figure, they say, echoed Fuentes' sentiments in a post on X. And what does she say? "Have you noticed how weak so many of the Trump surrogates, not Trump, but the Trump surrogates, sound on TV? President Trump has much better talent in his arsenal. Time for him to use it instead of letting people who don't know how to play offense drive his messaging into the ground on TV. The person who's driving Trump's messaging into the ground are not his speechwriters." This is per Trump at rallies. He's like, if you'll notice, I don't look at the teleprompter very much. I just basically wing it. I feel sorry for my writers, but I'm going to go off script. So this is all Trump is saying, hey, it's my fault. It's not my campaign. It's not my script writers. This is what I choose to say at my rally. And at every one of his rallies, he goes off script 100% of the time, ad nauseum. Also, where is the online presence to combat the Democrat astroturfing? A lot of people are wondering why so many people with talent are being sidelined. Seems like a suppression of momentum. Needs to change, and needs to change fast, because we can't talk about a stolen election for another 4 years. Time for some offense. And if you don't know how to be on offense, you probably should stay far away from President Trump's campaign. So Laura Loomer lays the fault of the sliding poll numbers directly at the feet of the people who are running Trump's campaign and not Trump himself. It says both Fuentes and Loomer have been banned from several social media platforms for violating hate speech policies. Fuentes once claimed that only, well, you can read the rest of that right there. Loomer has promoted several bizarre conspiracy theories, including denying the legitimacy of several you-know-whats. But, it's interesting to note that Laura Loomer is completely pro-Zionist. Nick Fuentes is completely the opposite direction, anti-Zionist. But what's worse, Catholicism and Catholic theocracy or Zionism? Because we know where both of them lead, and we know what they both are. They both boil down to a power and wealth transfer and a belief in unsubstantiated authority. And that's how it goes. So we have these far-right voices coming out against not Trump, they're coming out against Trump's campaign. And it's really interesting to me to watch them blame other people when Trump is clearly the one to blame. But at the bottom line, when the dust settles, it doesn't matter who gets into office. Like the elites say, it doesn't matter who the people vote for, because every vote is a vote for us. Like Amschel Rothschild said, give me control over a nation's money. I don't give a damn who makes its laws. I don't care who the governors are, the congressmen, the senators. I don't care who the president is. We pull the strings. That's what Alan Greenspan said. When asked what the relationship between a Federal Reserve chairman and the president of the United States should be, he goes, it doesn't really matter. Congress, it doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what the judicial branch says. It doesn't matter what the executive branch says. As long as they don't interfere with our plan, because we're a private corporation, it doesn't matter what the relationships are. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comments section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell notification icon. Give it a thumbs up. Share it with everybody you know. Subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. That's highimpactflix.com. Grab a shirt, become a channel member, but more importantly, know this. Freedom has a price, and that price is eternal vigilance. And indifference to this notion is the means by which the people have and will secure their own oppression. We need to stop securing our own oppression, and we need to start today. I will see you in the next video.